Hello. Tomorrow I'm driving up to Dallas to with Ashley for the photo shoot that I went shopping for yesterday that I took you on, and her and I are hopefully going to be doing a vlogmas together, answering some questions, so please submit your questions below. Okay, let's answer Brianna's question. She emailed in. Brianna asked, "Hi Danny, I have a few questions. This summer, my twin sister and I started working out more and swapping out some carbs for vegetables. I lost about 10 pounds. I wasn't overweight to begin with. I had extremely emotional periods, but losing the weight made my period symptoms less and my period got extremely light, only using a liner. But I was still regular and still around 5 days. It's been pretty light since then, and I'm not sure if it's normal to be this light. My main concern is that my bone and hormone health will be impacted. This summer I aimed for 10,000 steps a day and would walk on the treadmill every day. Soon my knees started to hurt, and they do sometimes, so I have to switch up my exercise. I definitely struggle with ED thoughts. My twin sister is even smaller than me with no period, and I don't want to be perceived as the bigger twin. I can see that being its own unique challenge. Additionally, I'm not anywhere near getting married or having a baby soon, so I'm wondering what the purpose of having a period is and how do I know if it's affecting my bone health. I've limited my exercise to 30 minutes a day and eat 3 meals and 1 snack with dessert at each meal. Any tips or encouragement?" Okay. First of all, there's so much here. First of all, I love a good twin study. Twin studies are really cool because we get a little bit more confident with our findings when it comes to things like strength and conditioning. There's a really cool twin study that Brett Contreras did where it was in a resistance training, and he got a set of twins and had one perform certain conventional exercises to grow and strengthen the glutes, and one who just did hip thrusts, and it was interesting findings to see the differences in both. So in many ways twin studies are helpful, but in many other ways twins and siblings studies and things are less helpful because we're still not exactly the same, and I get the impression you're not identical. And also, I don't think you've actually mentioned what your twins' results have been, and if her period has been totally fine and things like that. It just sounds like you're a bit, bigger, whether you be taller or you hold more body fat than your twin sister or something like that. So obviously you guys are different. So although there are very, very similar genetic similarities between the two of you, there are also some huge differences, and we actually know this begins back in utero. So obviously there are certain things about you and your sister from utero that are similar, but what we know about twins is that there's also big differences. Like one twin tends to take more space in the womb, and oftentimes one comes out is smaller, right? Things like that show us that your experience in utero is also different. Then as you are born, you have different, I like to think of it this way, right? So I'm the youngest. Oh, here we go, guys. You guys are I'm about to show you things that I philosophize on. I'm the youngest of 3 children, right? I have no idea what it's like to have a younger sibling, right? And I have a brother and a sister. So I have no idea what it's like to have only brothers or only sisters. Now my sister is a middle child. She has no idea what it's like to not have a older brother or a younger sister, or 2 sisters or 2 brothers. And my brother, who is the oldest, has no idea what it's like to be the youngest or a middle child, or to have a brother at all. So instantly, our experiences and perspectives, even though we have the same parents and grew up in the same neighborhoods, our experiences are completely different. There's actually a lot of things that are different about us. We're born in very different years. I'm 6 years younger. My experience of the world is different. All three of us went to different schools, right? And all three of us are extremely different. Now, what I often mention this is like, we love to kind of take other people and find what is similar about us to justify why we should, you know, be able to handle X amount of running or X amount of stress, yada yada. But we don't do a very good job of considering why we are different. Okay, so what I want you to do when you find yourself in comparison with your twin sister and like, well, why is her cycle fine or anything like that? Not that you're saying that's an issue, but I just was inspired by this. When you find yourself in that, I really want you to come up and think about all of the ways that you're different. All of the things about her interests and her maybe her job, and maybe her relationship with her parents versus your relationship with her parents, and her friends versus your friends, and actual environmental factors that make a difference. And then when it comes to your health, right, like there might be I know a set of triplets and one of them is allergic to apricots. And it's like, why are the others not? You know what I mean? It's like is evidence to show why you're all different. Okay, that's enough on that tangent. So you are totally aware that you've lost 10 pounds, that you weren't overweight, right? You lost 10 pounds. You have experienced a decrease in hormonal symptoms, and you know that you increased your step count, and to the point that your knees hurt. First of all, with the knee thing, I have had really bad patellofemoral in my history, and it sounds like you probably need to do some stretching, quite frankly. Like, get into quad IT band stretching and do a lot of piriformis stretching. It's gonna help a ton with knee pain. Just like side note, right? Your knee pain is not because of your HA. Your knee pain is because you're walking too much and your hips are getting too tight. But yes, you're probably doing too much. You're seeing this downshift in your periods. So I love what you've done here about limiting your exercise a bit. However, I don't know what you're doing with that exercise, and I don't know if you're still aiming for the 10,000 steps a day. I would get rid of that rule. It's arbitrary, it's silly. The history of where the 10,000 steps comes from is just like dumb, quite frankly, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, your little thing here, I'm not anywhere near getting married or having a baby soon, so I'm wondering what the purpose of having a period is, and how do I know if it's affecting my bone health? Let's talk about that. So the purpose of having a menstrual cycle actually is having a baby. But it's still directly related to your overall health, meaning your menstrual cycle isn't this like add-on extra, like you're going shopping at the car yard from UCar and they're like, oh, we'll throw in some, you take this deal and we'll throw in some foot mats or something, like that you don't need those things to drive the car. They're just nice to have. Like, that's actually not reality, right? So yes, it is for having a baby, but your overall health is actually impacted. So the thing about the body is it is all linked. There is nothing happening in a vacuum in your body. Think about nature. So the Amazon rainforest, y'all, isn't just impacted by what's happening in and around the Amazon rainforest. So there are like dust storms that happen in Egypt. And when those dust storms happen, it lifts a ton of dust up into the sky, and the clouds carry that dust over the ocean. You can see it from space. And it lands, it falls over the Amazon, creating the perfect fertilizer to help the Amazon grow and thrive, right? This is one of probably thousands of mechanisms, hundreds of thousands of mechanisms. If we zoom out from the Amazon and think about the whole world, right? Something on the other side of the planet is impacting something on the other side of the planet, right? We know that this is happening on a micro level in your front yard, in the lawn in your front yard, all the way to a macro level, like the Amazon, like the ice caps melting wherever the hell they're melting. Oh my gosh, that's bad. But, you know, in Antarctica, all of that stuff melting, it's impacting other parts of the world on a macro level. On a micro level, it's happening to the blade of grass in your front yard. On a micro level, it's happening in your body every single day. Your environment, your stress is related to how your body is operating, and how your body is operating, you know, in one area is related to how it's operating in another area. So your menstrual cycle is important because it means, if it's optimal, it means you are producing sufficient estrogen, progesterone, and other hormones, quite frankly. And we actually know facts, right, that estrogen is directly related to our bone health. You already said it, right? So if you're not producing enough estrogen, you don't have a cycle, your bone health is at risk. If you don't have enough estrogen, we've actually found evidence to show that it's going to also impact your heart and brains, and probably other organs that we probably just like don't even know about. We know, we're seeing clients, right? Clients often show us their bloods and they have elevated cholesterol. And we know it's actually linked to low estrogen. So that is one example of one aspect of your menstrual cycle that is crucial. Or that the fact that your menstrual cycle is functioning is directly correlated to other optimal functionings in your body. So nothing about your body is happening in a vacuum, okay? And your brain and Mother Nature in general intrinsically knows that everything is a fine balance. And this is why, you know, getting your nutrients from food, quality food where you can, over medication supplementation is better than, is better, because your brain is actually the perfect chemist. It creates the perfect optimal concoction for you based on what it has, and the exact amounts are typically found in, you know, quality organic nature. When we supplement and take medication, that's like a man-made sort of, we're just popping it in and hoping our body, like, you know, creates the perfect balance with what you're giving it. And it doesn't work that way, because like minerals, vitamins and minerals work by, like, you know, if you're producing too much of one mineral or too much of two minerals, they're antagonistic, meaning you know, the overproduction of two minerals might actually cause the suppression of another mineral. So if you're supplementing with too much of one mineral, you might actually be causing more problems than helping, because supplementation medication is not smarter than Mother Nature. And that's an example of how, you know, everything in the body is working together and getting feedback from other areas of the body to help optimize, right? So anything you do is impacting everything you do. Even though the line of dominoes may be longer or shorter with some actions, there is always an impact with everything that you're doing. I obviously had my coffee this morning, you know, so I hope this helps. Just know that when you are having, I literally have the goal to always be fertile. Like, I want to feel like I could get pregnant any moment. I actually have zero plans to get pregnant, like, ever again. at least with my own baby. That just, at the moment, that's just not something on the cards for me. But I know that if my body is in a place where I could get pregnant and my body is like a 5-star baby hotel, I know I'm in a healthy place. So I'm always trying to make sure that that is a thing. Okay, I think that answers most of your questions. I'll bring the carbs back. You said you've been swapping out carbs for vegetables, and I've seen that really not help, and I've seen the reintroduction of carbohydrates really help. So yeah. Okay, let's see if we have another question. Okay, I found the one. I was emailing Emily this week. She responded to one of the emails I sent her about something else. And she actually sent me an email response that inspired a subject. So she sent me a message and she asked, I'm curious to know how HA could be diagnosed. I've gone to my PCP, primary care practitioner, and a functional doctor, and after doing blood work, progesterone challenge, ultrasound, etc., neither of them have officially said I have HA. I have an OB/GYN appointment coming up soon to see if they have answers. Okay, so I responded to Emily. Sorry, babe. I'm bad. Okay. I said that by seeing that all reproductive hormone labs are in the low or low normal range, combined with the fact that you have no period, will equal a diagnosis. So Emily then said, thanks for the reply. I wish the doctors would say that. I'm finding it difficult to go all in when there's not an affirmative diagnosis. I've been watching all of your VLOGMAS videos. Thank you. Okay. And I love this. I recently had, I'm going to tell you guys another example before I dive into this. So I had an email-based client. So we email back and forth updates. She was trying to get her period back. Now she's working on getting pregnant. So she checks in with me every week. And every week she lately has, she has her period back. So she's been going to these doctors because she previously was given a PCOS diagnosis that she just wanted to clear up with them, which makes perfect sense. As we're working together, she has a beautiful chart. I'm going to put up on the screen here. This is a beautiful chart. And I'm really excited, like, oh, look at your mucus phases, like, is looking good. Your basal body temperature shift is amazing. The whole thing. Oh no, I have a meeting right now. I'll be back.
I think it's been like 6 months-ish, but I mean, it's like she's exercising like 5-6 days a week. She doesn't eat meat, and yeah, so very helpful in these situations to see what it'll actually take.
Yeah. Well, one other thing that can make it really hard, I think, maybe just challenging is a better word than hard, but with your clients, it often, it's not that it takes so long for like stuff to work, but sometimes it takes that long for their mindset to shift around what needs to actually be done, like that's kind of, I think that's the heart of like the coaching aspect of things, where you have to find a way to motivate your clients to try stuff so that they can see results. And at least we have the chart to do that, because the chart is a huge motivator, because we can see the shifts. And when you see those changes, I'm sure that felt like finally, like it's like great feedback. And then you want to continue to see those changes. And so that's going to motivate you to continue.
Okay. So that was every month I have a mentorship call with a bunch of women who are also fan practitioners, and we just talk about like our own charts or client charts and things like that. So it's really cool to have all these different people that we can bring, get different perspectives if we have like a challenging client case or whatever. So that's always fun. But we're back, okay? And I remember that I was talking about wanting your doctor's diagnosis. I don't remember where I left off, so here we are. If you are looking to your doctor for confirmation about what is happening in your own body, that needs to change, okay? You are the boss, the owner, and solely responsible for your body. Meaning, if you need a doctor's diagnosis to know that something isn't right, or a doctor to tell you what to do, you're leaving your entire health in the hands of someone else who is human, faultable, and only working within the scope of their practice. Meaning, right, the scope of my practice is to holistically help you resolve your menstrual cycle issues, more specifically getting your period back and or getting pregnant. A doctor's scope is in the medicine field, right? Medical intervention. Imagine you know nothing about HA. You go to your doctor and you say, here's my issue, help. And they say, oh, interesting. Maybe you should try getting your period back by just doing no exercise and eating more. And you know nothing about HA. Interesting, there's a part of you that's going to be like, what? That's all you got from me? You know, it's like when it's like when people get frustrated going to the doctor, they are overweight, and the doctor just says, you should just lose weight. You know, and they get frustrated with that response, because what you actually wanted, you know, was the doctor to tell you, oh, here's what's wrong with you. It's not your problem or responsibility. Here's a bunch of medicine that will fix it, right? And we've all been down that route. Only in hindsight now, knowing what we know now, do we feel frustrated by the doctor not giving us the diagnosis. So use the doctor for what they're good at, the scope they're in, which is coming in, seeing your problems and providing medicine. If you have a doctor that says, oh, you have HA and you should take a holistic approach, that is a good doctor, right? That is a good doctor. They're not all coming from that perspective. They think you want them to give you a prescription. So just have that compassion for where they're coming from. Take this diagnosis into your own hands. So when you are like all over the place trying to find a diagnosis. Oh, that's right. I was telling you guys about my client with PCOS. Or not really. So she, and I've seen this a lot, I'm going to use her as an example, but she represents many people. She had a doctor who had told her, you have PCOS, right? Like based on the no period and having lots of follicles on her ovaries. But having no period is not a PCOS symptom. So we already know that she definitely has HA, and if she does have PCOS, we need to deal with the HA to get to it. We deal with the HA, and there's no sign of PCOS. Homegirl has a 14-day luteal phase, a beautiful mucus phase. All of her cycles are like 30 days. Nothing smells like PCOS. She's emailing me because she's an email client, and she's like, I'm trying to get, you know, I'm excited that my period's looking good, but I'm still trying to get in with these doctors and no one will listen to me and no one will run these tests for me. And I'm like, oh, what tests? She's like, for my PCOS. I'm like, what? Oh no, like are you experiencing symptoms? What's wrong? Why are you going to the doctor? You must be experiencing some kind of symptoms if you're spending all of this time trying to connect with your doctor for this diagnosis. And they won't they're like, no, we're not running any tests. And she's getting frustrated because the doctors aren't running any tests for her. And I'm like, babe, your chart is beautiful. You know, we don't see girls with HA get their cycle back to these parameters as quickly as you did. Now, it took her actually a long time to get her first recovery period, but when she did, you know, it looked amazing. And she was frustrated, which is so interesting. She was frustrated because she still had this lingering like fear that she has PCOS because the doctor told her she did. but the doctor is faultable. Your chart shows that your cycles are hot to trot, looking great. You can drop it. You don't, just because the doctor said this like a year ago, you don't have to pursue it. You can take what your doctor says with a grain of salt, go do your own research, always get second opinions, guys. Come on, always get second opinions. And just know that doctors don't know everything. They're the best trained at what they're at, and they're human beings who they read the textbook at school and then they went into practice, and now this is what they see a lot in practice. And so this is what's the first thing that's coming to their mind, right? Is like the thing that they hear the most about and they see the most about. If they want to look into your case, they're going to have to go to their desk, they're going to have to open the computers, you're going to have to get back to the books, because it's not all just downloaded and stored into their head. They don't just know all this stuff, really. They know where to find it. If they care and are interested, they will go and find it. If they don't, they will tell you you have PCOS and they'll send you on your way. Or they'll tell you you have undiagnosed infertility and send you on your way. Or they'll tell you just go on the pill and send you on your way. Because they don't want to look deeper into it. Okay? So we're not yucking anyone's doctor. There are great doctors out there, but there are also not. You need to take that responsibility for yourself and be open to the idea that they're not going to tell you that you're okay. You are going to have to figure it out. Okay? I'm sorry that answer got chopped and changed. I don't know if the message got across at all. But happy Vlogmas. Happy day 14. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Q&A. And please submit your questions below so that me and Ashley can answer them over the next day or two. And yeah, bye. Subscribe.